All right, let's talk Nebraska Cornhuskers here for a little bit as we're working our way through spring ball. It's all very exciting to see what Nebraska is going to look like as we get ready for the 2024 campaign. And obviously, all eyes are on the quarterback position and the young players there, seeing who's going to develop. But the running back position is critical for Nebraska as well. And there's one guy in particular that's making a big name for himself. Let's get into the report and then we'll talk about it more in detail on the other side. This is courtesy of The Athletic. Emmitt Johnson earned praise from head coach Matt Rule for his work in Nebraska's second major scrimmage of the spring, dominated Saturday by the offense, according to the coach, and a hat tip from Nebraska great Amon Green, who was in attendance. He can do it all, Rule said. Johnson said he's still determined to prove himself every day. His apparent rise this spring offers reassurance at running back. Look, Emmitt Johnson had a really good spring, but scrimmage, but he's had an outstanding spring. He looks like a budding breakout star for Nebraska, which is obviously great news for the Huskers. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, Nebraska fans, in the comment section below, talking about running backs here. So we're going to give you a really challenging thing right here. Really challenging question. Who is your favorite running back of all time in Nebraska history? There are a lot of them in particular that jump out. There's one guy mentioned in that report. There's a few guys going back a few decades that could be on the top of that list as well. Give us your favorite running back in Nebraska history in the comment section below. But all right, Miles, what do you make of this report and just Emmitt Johnson emerging as a breakout star for Nebraska?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is great news for Nebraska because last year the offense was kind of anemic. 18 points per game, 5.1 yards per play, bottom quarter of all of FBS offenses really kind of hindered them. Not Matt Rule's fault necessarily. They were definitely plagued by a lot of turnovers and a lot of injuries at the running back and quarterback position as well. I think that largely is what hurt them, but it's kind of relief if you're a Nebraska fan to see a running back. We, like you said, we all want to see the quarterback position, and I think Raiola is kind of stepping up. We're gonna see him in due time, but right now the running back position is really starting to stand out. And a guy like Emmitt Johnson, you gotta love when someone like that steps up. Last year, he did an admirable job. 6 starts, rushed for 411 yards. I think he did okay or good enough, is what the article says, but they don't want just good enough. They want better. So I'm glad to see him have a big spring and potentially show that he can do better than good enough. But I don't think it's sorted out yet, and we cannot crown Emmitt Johnson as the starter just yet because there's one important thing Matt Rule brings up. I think this is really crucial for a coach, just being able to come out here and say that. He says, we're still feeling ourselves out through the running back position. Nothing is set in stone yet. There's one important thing. You have to master the pass protection schemes as a running back because if you cannot do that, your playtime will be sparse. That was a quote from Matt Rule. So he's like, you got to learn it now. You got to make some steps in the pass protection game. And that is something he's looking at from his young running back group. Now, I think Emmitt Johnson is a guy who can do that, but I'm glad to see he's taking a step in the right direction. If they can get, pass protection from the running backs up, I think Matt Rule's going to be pretty happy as far as where they are. But I think he just wants to protect his young quarterback, and I think this is looking really good for Nebraska.
Yeah, especially, and I want to address your anemic offense remark because there may be some people that hear that and they say, well, Nebraska did finish second in the Big Ten in rushing. That's one of those stats can lie kind of situations. And look, you're right. Nebraska did finish second at 176.8 yards per game running the football in the Big Ten last season. But no team ran the football in the Big Ten as a higher percentage of their total offensive plays than Nebraska. So this is a volume approach, and it goes even deeper than that. The highest ranking in terms of rushing leader in the Big Ten and Nebraska player was 18, and that was Heinrich Harnberg, right? So again, running back position was not nearly what it needed to be last year. It needs to be a lot better for 2024. They cannot rely so much on just volume to get rushing yards. And look, I played college football, D1 FCS. We played on a triple option offense, and we were always like top 10 in the country in rushing yards per game. It always looked good on paper. Oh, look how high ranked we are. But we ran the ball all but 2 or 3 plays a game. It was a volume approach, and I played on a lot of bad teams and a lot of bad offenses, right? You don't want to ever have to rely on volume to get your rushing yards up because, to be honest, if you just run the football 50 times a game, you'll just get your 150, 200 yards just by sticking with it, right? You need to generate big plays. You need to generate chunk yardage. And when you need to get key first downs to milk games, you need to be able to do that as well. And having a quality running back, it looks like Emmitt Johnson is looking like he can be that guy, will be critical for Nebraska because I think that was a huge problem with them last year. We talk about the issues at quarterback, and hopefully Dylan Raiola can come in and do a great job. The reality is the quarterback can't do it all, right? He needs some support. He needs a strong running offensive line and a strong running back to help supplant him. If he doesn't have any of that, he's going to have no chance, right? We all know the reality of the situation. Nebraska in the Big Ten, it's going to be brutal. It's going to be tough. You're going to need a strong running game from the running back position to counter whoever's playing quarterback. And if Emmitt Johnson can continue to build off this success and become that guy, this Nebraska offense can go from anemic to pretty good really quickly.
Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you. Your full name, email, home address, health records, even your relatives. It's all out there. That's why we use Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows us which data brokers are selling our information and automatically submits opt-out requests for us.
Cleaning up our information not only reduces the amount of that stupid spam we all get, but it also protects us from hackers who could use this information to help them access our social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also does much more to protect us and our families from online threats. We also get features like antivirus protection, VPNs, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. That's really key. One location, get all this great stuff. It's really easy to set up. And the best of all, we get everything at one affordable price.
You may already have one or two of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. Aura is always on doing the hard work of keeping us safe so you can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. We value our privacy and we also value yours. So go to aura.com/SMI college to start your 2-week free trial. Again, linked in the description below. Go to aura.com/SMI college to start your 2-week free trial today.